What's up, Josh? Welcome to the Dark Waters.
How's it going? How's it going, man? Another Josh.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. I'm excited to talk to you. Believe it or not, I'm friends with Adam Reiser. I talked to him probably about 2 months ago, and he told me like bring this dude in the show. He wanted me to talk to you about like top waters, but he's all like, you need to watch this guy. He's gonna be a big deal next year. And I'm like, okay. And then like next thing I know, I'm like, hey, is that the guy that Adam was telling me about that's going into the 10 right now? And I'm just like, when people tell, like, I'm getting used to this thing, like where people tell me to look out for someone, I should probably listen to him because this has happened to me like multiple times. They tell me to watch out for a guy. And next thing you know, he's like winning a national championship or rookie of the year or going into the 10. But man, I'm excited to have you on.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. It's actually my first podcast, so kind of see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I promise you, dude. Like, we won't make this long and drunk out. I just want to. I appreciate what you did. Like, I thought it was a really great accomplishment for as new as you are to the. I would say like the sport, I guess, like national events, like going straight into the 10. Then I think it's pretty surreal. I at least want to get people to know you because who knows what else you're going to do this year, you know?
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's not my first year doing it, but I think this is gonna be my first year actually kind of committing to it because I've done a few other trail events, here and there. I made the Hobie TOC last year, but I hopped in like
Okay.
the last half of the year for that.
Okay, so
And
you're one of those like sleeper cell dudes, man. people, people don't know what's
yeah,
going on with you, but well, cool, man. Why don't you take this time to like kind of like introduce yourself real quick, like kind of like who you are, what you done, what you do, and we'll start from there, man.
I mean, I'm Joshua Sharp. I live in Franklin, Tennessee. Been fishing for almost all my life. Just kind of got competitive probably 5 years ago or so. Local clubs. I'm fish KBF Ten. It's my home club over there. But it's got a bunch of good anglers in there. It's got Adam Reiser, Russ Snyder's, Josh Stewart, a bunch of big names fishing against all the time. But,
Yeah, that's quite a handful of guys that all have in like one area. It's almost not
right,
fair when you think about it, you know?
right. Yeah, there's definitely some good competition. Yeah, I mean, we got some good other good local. Just people don't know about who just don't get out and compete or anything. But
Right.
definitely a hard group to fish against.
Well, cool, man. Well, how'd you end up in a kayak?
Oh, I got a kayak back. Let me think. Honestly, I was like 19 or 20. I was trying to save up for a bass boat, so I was wanting to get into tournaments and everything. And at the time, a kayak was cheap, like a cheaper option. So I think I got like an Ascend FS 12T or something for like $500. It was just supposed to be a thing that kind of get me by until I had the money for a boat. And ended up getting that and doing some tournaments and ended up loving it. I mean, I have a bass boat now, but shoot, I fish out of my kayak. I think a lot more than I ever touched that boat. It sits in my
Right.
yard more than I fish out of it. So
Right.
it's definitely a unique sport. It's a lot of fun too.
Yeah. So what's kept you? Is this just the year that you decided you really wanted to go for it, or did things kind of align for you? Because I mean, it's like making the 10, like it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of last year, I did the Hobie events, and I cashed. I think out of three trail events I did, I cashed the check out two out of the three times. I was kind of like, man, maybe I should actually commit to like a full season next year and see what happens. And then it's one a good start. I actually ended up getting a real good start this year. So
You know,
I
you know
was
what I
like,
feel like? I feel like this is like Russ Snyder's story as well. I feel like he was doing he's kind of like you, like he was like hiding in like his not hiding, but like hanging out with his trail dudes up there. And then like one year he comes in and then he just he just wins everything or he starts making to these big events because I mean if you can fish, you can fish. It is what it is,
right,
but it's like I think it's like when a person like when some of these like sleeper dudes who just like decide they want to like commit to it. I guess they see like the benefits of it, and then they say no, it takes off from him because I don't know. I didn't really know anything about Russ before last year, or I'm sorry, before 2000, whatever. Like 2 years ago, I didn't know who Russ Snyder was, and then all of a sudden, like he's just taking home so many first places I can't count. He's made it to this, made it to that, and then you just don't know. You don't know anything about a guy until he shows up to every tournament taking everyone's money. Um, I kind of see like this is what's going to be kind of like what you're doing. Like, I mean, I heard a lot about you before I heard about you, and then now, that's what I saw what you did like the past few weeks. I'm like, okay, I get it. When those guys tell you to look out for someone, that's exactly what they mean because obviously those guys know who they know who when they know a good angler, they know a good angler.
Right. Yeah. I hope I can be half as successful as Russ has been. I mean, he's definitely killing it. He's killing it in the our club events way before he ever, stepped on the
Right.
stage. So he's definitely good. I hope, if I get half as successful as that, I'll be happy about it.
Right.
Got to
Well, what'd you think about Florida, man? Like, what was the experience like? Like, how long were you there before the actual tournament started?
Oh, I showed up when I get there Tuesday night, so I fished Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But I mean, it was awesome. I love fishing shallow. I don't really like fishing below anything deeper than 5-6 feet, so it kind of worked out perfect for me.
Right.
And I'm not a deep water guy. Like Adam, he goes out there and drop shots 20 feet deep, but it's not my style. So, but yeah, I mean, plenty of grass, creeks and stuff on the lakes, stuff I like to fish. I feel like it really fits my strengths and everything out there.
Well, cool. Like, did you do all events? Did you just do the Tenvitational? Did you do the 2 trail events as well?
Oh yeah, I just did the Tenvitational. Unfortunately, um, I didn't know. I caught a couple of good fish in practice. I didn't fish that spot too hard. I was like, I kind of sat on the trail events because I wasn't feeling too confident about it. And then, shoot, halfway, like a couple hours in Saturday morning, I already had over 90 inches. I was like, kind of regret not doing the trail events now.
Right. Well, how did you make it down there for the Tenvitational? It's more like, did you qualify through like online tournaments or something?
Oh no, I've never done the online tournaments. I guess any time in the history of KBF, if you place like a top 3, you can do it. But I mean, I guess it technically qualified like 4 or 5 years ago. I did one at Chickamauga and got 3rd place in like 2015, 16.
I didn't know you could do that. I thought it had to be like based off like the previous season. You had to like, I don't know, like KBF's got so many weird rules. I don't know what
Yeah,
exactly
I
what their
thought
qualifications are.
I thought it'd been that season, and I think I reread the rules, and someone told me like anytime in their history. But like, even if it didn't carry back that far, I got a 3rd place at Kentucky Lake this year with KBF back in
Okay.
June 28th. Yeah,
Okay.
check back. That says it.
Bet
That's right.
they're just looking at your checks.
Yeah, that's the only one I actually got up there. Now I get some more over here, but just happened to be like Kentucky Lake one sitting over there on the wall.
Okay, so I have like the completely wrong interpretation of what I thought you. I thought you were someone who was like brand new to the sport that Adam and those guys found. Said, hey, watch out for this guy. But you do have some history like over the years, like competing in some of these bigger events.
Right.
Okay, cool, man. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's been kind of all over the place. I'll do like an event. I might do 1 or 2
Right.
events a year. I might do 1 KBF event like
Yeah,
2 years ago. And it's been
just
real.
here and there.
Yeah, I just haven't committed yet. But
Is this the year like you're coming out? Like this is like the year that you really want to get after it?
yeah, this is the year I definitely want to do that. I mean, plan to get a full season. Hopefully, KBF and Hobie as I'm going for. Try to get as many of those as I can get in there.
Right.
At first, I was just going to commit to Hobie originally. That's what I want to do. After being in that 10 house, like Chad and all them, they did a great job. It was awesome. So now my goal is to try to get back in there because after seeing that, I was like, I got to get back into that.
Well, what do you think about your chances? Were like when you were down there in Florida? Like, were you feeling pretty pumped that obviously that was your goal to get into the house? What did you think when you actually made it into the house? I mean, it had to be a pretty surreal moment, like to go down there. I mean, because it's tournament fishing. Tournament fishing's hard. There's a lot of other people that want to be in the house just as much as you do.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things like I don't know. At least for me, I didn't really expect to actually end up there. It's kind of one of those things. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go give it my best shot. I'll probably end up at Seminole Monday, pre-fishing for that to go to Hobie, and actually end up winning and making it to the house. I'm like, shoot, this actually happened. Like,
yeah, it's like shit. What do I do now? I actually got to do this.
Right, I'm actually headed to the 10 house. Like,
yeah,
I didn't plan for it, but I didn't really plan to make it that far.
right.
So it was definitely cool. Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like one of those things. Like if you make it into that house, it kind of like it puts a stamp on you for somehow. Like everyone like that makes it to those kind of events, like the next few years they're gonna be looked at in a different way. It's just I don't know if it's just like the something being prestige or if it's or what it is. I mean, like all eyes are on you. Because I remember like last year, there was a lot more that kind of went into like the marketing side, I guess, like the way they promoted the anglers and stuff was a little bit different last year. And then like the hype, the excitement, the way that you got to know the anglers, it's like people like recognize like when you go to the 10 because of the effort that Chad and those guys do to like promote the anglers themselves. I mean, it's a pretty big deal, I think.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they did a lot of film stuff this year. We had like a film day to kind of they interviewed all of us individually. So I think they'll probably do that kind of in the video so everyone gets to know whoever in there was. But
Right. Well, how'd you feel about all that? Like the videos, the whatever. Like I was talking to a few guys, like Jeremy Mitchell. He made it to the house, and so I talked to him about it. Scott Butcher and those guys always do a good job, just recording the event. Talking to the anglers. But one of the things I realized about a lot of guys that make it to the house, a lot of those guys are camera shy. A lot of those guys are a little bit nervous about doing like those kind of like I don't know, social media. I don't know, promotion things or whatever. Like a lot of people just want to go out there and fish, and like Chad and those guys are really good at like taking you out of your comfort zone and like putting the camera in front of you and making you tell your story. And was that it all kind of like difficult? I mean, like for one, you didn't even know you're going to be there. Next thing you know, you're in the house. You're like, oh shit! And then they're giving you all this stuff. They got a camera. They're interviewing. They're asking you all these weird questions. I mean, you didn't have time to write your bio down or what? Like what was that all like?
I mean, it was definitely weird for me, for sure, because I'd never been filmed for anything really. Having like a camera one of the days on the water, kind of following me around. And I don't know. I wasn't used to it. It was cool at the same time though, but it was out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, it's like because you didn't have time to pick the proper gear or anything. You can't just let people see you in like you're like not your best.
Right. I mean, my kayak's always covered in mud half the time, so I'm sure they got some camera of that. Yeah, it was cool though. I'm sure after a few more times you kind of get used to it, but
Right.
It was a new experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it had to feel pretty pumped to go down there and actually win, and then obviously you're good friends with Russ Snyder, and I'm pretty sure he was just as excited for you as you were about winning the whole thing. I mean, it's one thing I know about the sport is like when you got your crew, when you see it, like you look like the relationship between like Matt Conant and Derek Brundle and Jody Queen
Right.
and Dreyer. It's like it's cool to see like when those guys, even those guys that are successful, watch their other friend become successful and like seeing the interaction. So it'd be a pretty like pump moment for that whole like Tennessee crew that you guys got going on.
Yeah, I know Russ was excited for me, and Adam was texting me and stuff. He was excited too to see me out there. I mean, it was a cool moment, and they want to see me succeed just as much as I want to.
Right.
I mean, that's awesome about the sport. Everyone's there to help each other. It seems like.
Right. Well, so going back just a little bit to like when the actual fishing part of it. What was the fishing like? Like, was it in your strengths? Like, what are your strengths? I know you like to fish shallow. I hear you're a top water guy. What was it like fishing Florida? Where'd you find them? What was the pattern? Like, how are you successful over those 2 days to make it into the house?
The pattern for me, I mean, it was chatterbait and kind of flipping pads. Kind of, it was more like swimming.
Right.
Like, I was flipping in there and kind of swimming it back. I had to hop over the pad stems and let it fall. And half the time I'd see it come over the pad stem, one would come grab it. But I was fishing a creek mouth. I think they're kind of moving up there to spawn. I don't think they're quite spawning yet. They're locked in, but they're definitely some big pre-spawn fish. I mean, my pattern first thing in the morning, usually about the first 2 hours, I'd cover some water with the chatterbait. I'd kind of like one at the mouth, like one stretch, kind of circle around. Had some reeds, some Cassini grass, and some pads, and then later in the day, I'd kind of just switch to flipping the pads. I had like two groups of pads that seemed just to hold all my fish in them. I kind of switch back and forth to those two. That's how I call my fish. I mean, Saturday morning, most of my fish came out of chatterbait. I had like 90 something inches in like the first 2 or 3 hours or so. But they're bound to get that morning.
I mean, it sounded like you had like 2 good days, like 2 really good days. Like, were you stressed at all? Were you did you kind of know like you had something special like when you were out there that you found? Because I mean, like it's one of those things where, like the people found them, and the rest of the people kind of had a rough time because of, I guess, the cold front that came in. What were your feeling as far as like as the days went? Like, were you feeling pretty pumped and pretty confident in like the decisions that you made?
Yeah, I was feeling good. I wasn't sure, Saturday morning going in, but like it was like immediately starting to get a bit. I was feeling pretty confident. Sunday I was kind of worried. I think it was like 10:30 or so, and I have a fish on the board. I was kind of getting stressed out for a minute. I think I had like lost 3 fish on chatterbait that morning.
Oh man,
So it was a bad way to start. I was kind of getting nervous. Like, man, I'm those guys who like kills it day one, and then it's like one fish day two. But I ended up, once I started buying that flipping pattern, luckily I caught like a 19 and a half, and I caught like a 22 and a quarter right after. So it all started to come together. So I was going to feel a little better. But yeah, Sunday was a rough start for me.
right.
Now,
Are you one of those guys who are you one of those guys who watches the leaderboard as you go out through the day? Do you kind of know what everyone else was doing?
Yeah, I do. I try not to. I used to not at all, and lately I've been doing it more. I don't know why. I mean, I feel like sometimes that almost hurts me more than it helps me. If I see guys catching fish, I start to get stressed out and get into my head too much than if I wasn't. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I do it.
And so let me ask you, like, when you guys went to the award ceremony, did you know you had it, or were you still kind of like, shit, it could be someone else, or how did you feel before they called your name out?
I felt pretty good, but I can't remember. There's one guy who was not far behind me, and Russ is right behind me. There's another guy. I can't remember who it was, but I think he was only, what was it, half an inch, 3/4 behind me. So I'm like, he could have waited that last, few minutes and uploaded a bigger one that he caught last minute. So
Right.
there's always that chance, because I knew I didn't have much of a lead going into it. So I mean, it was definitely a little nerve wracking just to see what happened.
Yeah.
I think he had like a 15-incher. He had a cold, so like either him or Russ put something up bigger. It was close.
Yeah, you never know what Russ is gonna do either.
Knowing I lost, right, and then knowing I lost a few fish that morning. I think I had like a 14 and a half incher. He had a 14 and a half incher both days. I couldn't get rid of, but yeah, knew I lost a couple coals that day, so I was like, man, that might have been my winning fish right there. I lost a big one Sunday morning on that chatterbait.
Yeah.
I hooked him. He pulled me into some reeds. We got hung up in. He was off by the time I got there.
That sucks.
So
That sucks. So
yeah,
so you guys lucked out a little bit, kind of, because the weather changed, and it pushed your guys' day one of the actual 10 over. What did you do on your the day off?
you'll probably see a video of it. We actually fixed my truck. My fuel pump went out. I broke down Monday. I broke it down Monday on that day at a tackle shop. So I got there and got some tackle and tried to leave, and my truck, when it starts turning over, fuel pump went out. And Russ actually picked me up, and he was going to drop me off at the ramp. He dropped me off at the ramp Tuesday morning before they had canceled it. So once they canceled, I mean, it kind of worked out because I got my truck towed back to the house, and then me and all the guys, we took the bed off and changed the fuel pump, and luckily everything worked fine after that. So
I don't even know friends that can help me change a fuel pump.
Yeah. I mean, they're all super helpful. I started taking it apart, and Russ went back to the house to grab a few guys because we had to take the bed off. And we need some help taking the bed off. And next thing you know, there's like 6 guys out there all doing something. And it took us probably like an hour at most. So,
dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It was cool. It was a good experience.
Yeah. Well, how was the
worked out? I was kind of nervous. Like,
right. Well, how was the actual fishing like during? Hold on, give me a second. We're kind of stepping over each other. My bad.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So, how was the actual fishing during the actual 10 itself?
First day was good. I think I ended up with 89.5 inches. I had a good bite. I don't think I was the first one with the limit, but I had like 3 fish in the first, so one of them being over 20 on that chatterbait bite, and then I was able to fill out my limit throughout the day and Cole once or twice, and I was feeling good going into the day too. I think Jeremy Mitchell had like 93 inches or so.
Dude, he was crushing
Russ
it
was
like
a
the
quarter
first
inch ahead
day.
of me at like 80. Yeah, Jeremy, yeah, he like 3 over 20 as his first fish, but and then I mean, me and Russ, we were up there. I was feeling good. I was gonna get on some fishing next day, but Sunday, I guess that cold front really hit him hard. I only ended up with three fish that morning bite. I had been getting on the chatterbait, wasn't there at all. I just had to work. I ended up going way up the creek and kind of working that, trying to fill out a limit. I only ended up getting 3 small ones. Probably the 3 smallest fish I'd caught all week was like 2 13 1/4 on 12.5 or something.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was slow. Kind of wish I'd maybe flipped the pads more, but I don't know. That bite definitely turned off on us. I think
Yeah.
me, Russ, or Jeremy didn't catch that day. So yeah, the top 3 guys kind of none of us did that great. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeremy still ended up doing real well. He third with 4 fish, but yeah, it was rough. Thursday was rough.
Yeah. It looked like the last day or whatever. But the guys that were leading the tournament started falling apart, and then the guys who you had a lot of guys that came from the bottom and kind of came back up. Like I didn't know. Like when I heard Jody Queen won, I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming because I just didn't see him. When I was watching the rest of you guys, I'm like, those guys are crushing it right now. And then I don't know if Jody didn't have a signal and he was holding on to some fish, but like I was really surprised when he won when they declared him the winner. It was I really thought it was gonna be like Jeremy or I thought it was gonna be Russ. Just from what I saw, if I remember correctly, I knew Jeremy was crushing it, but I know he started falling apart probably like the second day at some point.
Yeah. The lake Jody was at. I know they didn't have good signal out there, and it seemed like that lake there's a lot of fish, and it was like a guaranteed limit, and that's what paid off. He killed it, and he had that limit both days, which went a long way. And I mean, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's all I can say about that. He did a great job out there. And
Yeah.
Jody's been going at it for a while now, so I'm glad he got the win.
Yeah, he's an incredible human being. Now what do you think about the whole event itself? I know you talked a little bit about it, but like, I mean, this as far as for KBF, it's their big prestige event, but they put a lot into it. Like for 2 years in a row, it's like I'm more excited to see what you guys get on your bed before the tournament starts. All the swag gear you guys get. I mean, like what do you think about the whole ordeal as far as the house, the things they gave you? The media attention or whatever that's coming out, the videos they're making. Was this a really good experience for you?
Oh yeah, I mean definitely they went like above and beyond, more than more than I expected. I kind of expected a house, and I was like, oh, I'll probably be sharing a room with someone, maybe like a bunk bed or 2 beds in it. But I mean, the house is set up. We all had our own room, own shower. They catered us food every night, made us lunch. Gave us a ton of prizes. From DZ, they did a great job. We had some Yak Attack stuff, some custom catch boards. So I mean, it was a lot more than I ever expected it to be. It was a good experience. I'd say that.
So you did Lake Seminole after this. What was that like? I mean, they had to make it's kind of tough because they place these two like so close to each other. Was Seminole even worth going to
Right.
after fishing that hard for that many days and going right into another 2 day tournament full of just badass anglers as well? Like dude, the whole thing just watching you guys exhausts me. I couldn't imagine doing 2 big events like that and then going into a third event at Lake Seminole.
Um, I think it was worth it. I wish I'd done better. Seminole's probably the worst term I think I've had at the national level. But I mean, if I had made the 10, I had all week to pre-fish, and I think I would have put something together. But having one day, I was hoping to be able to carry some of that moment in out of Kissimmee, and just be able to find something and go through with it. But it didn't. Unfortunately, it didn't end up that way. I found one spot, caught some fish out of Friday, having like a half day, and I just kind of felt good about it. But Saturday, the tournament actually came along. I couldn't find where those fish were. I mean, it wasn't going my way, but I mean,
Right.
I don't regret doing it. It's still good. I kind of hope we go back to Seminole next year just to get some redemption. Hopefully,
Right.
make myself feel better about this tournament.
It's really it's like Lake Seminole, like it's their first event. It was their first event last year, and it's just one of those tournaments where it's like it really like tests as an angler because a lot of people don't do that well at Seminole this time of the year. I don't know if it's just I haven't fished it this time of year, but it's from right here. It's just tough. The weather conditions are tough. Like it's the cold front's coming in or whatever. Like the fish are hard to find, and it's a tough event, but it's a good event that everyone loves to do. And it definitely kind of shows you kind of where you're at, because I mean it's not an easy event whatsoever.
Right. I mean, you guys found some people killed it all week. Headed up to when I was driving up there Thursday night, I was hearing all these people talking about how they're only catching like one fish a day or hadn't caught a fish in like 2 days, and then I thought it was gonna be a lot more like how I looked at last year. Like a limit of like 12 to 13-inch fish would catch you a check.
Yeah.
And Saturday came and all these huge limits. I was like, wow, someone found them. It wasn't me, but it seemed like people had figured out, I guess, a lot more than last year. The fishing was better. And you had Brian Howard,
just
Joey. What was that?
You there? I'm sorry. I was just gonna say,
yeah.
It's just I just say it's kind of crazy how that tournament goes because you have like just all these badass anglers, but it's like it's one of those events that just want to get out of the way because I was like, Ryan Lambert, TOC champion last year. Like he says, day one he knew he was done and didn't even and decided to go home and not even bother with day two. Same thing with a few other anglers who we all know can fish, but it's just one of those events that's gonna test you, and it's just something you want to get out of the way so you can get to the rest of the season.
Right. Yeah. I almost went home day two. I considered it. So I only had like one fish day one. I almost packed up enough. I ended up just going with a big 8-inch mag draft all day Saturday. I figured I'd try a big bass or something.
Right.
Hope for the best. And I threw that probably like 80% of the day. Nothing. All I caught that was a pickerel. But
right.
it was worth the shot. I was like, you never know what happens. They cash the check, make a little like a 25-inch or something. But he never showed up for me. It was worth a shot. I figured I'd learn something new for hopefully next year. Checked out some new spots and stuff on Sunday. Just made it fun. Figured I'd fish it while I was down there. But
well, cool, man. We'll wrap this thing up soon. But what do you think the rest of the season? And what do you want to do? I know you said earlier that you were hoping to do, or you were planning on doing like a lot of like a Hobie events, but you made the 10. I don't know if that changes the way you look at the next season. But like, what are you thinking about this? Like, is there anything that you want? Are you going to try to do everything like Russ does? Or are you going to try to focus on one series over the other? Are you more into like the 2-day events over the 1-day events? Like what are you feeling about 2021?
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely want to make the TOC again. That's definitely my goal things. But I'm gonna try to get some KBF events in there. I'm on the fence about Lake Murray. I mean, they're doing Watts Bar Lake Murray coming up here. I might end up doing both, but with the KBF schedule because I'm definitely gonna try to make some of those. I mean, making the 10 again is another goal of mine. Hopefully, I can do it by points this year, so I don't have to rely on going out and winning the Tenvitational. And that'd be hard to pull off 2 years in a row.
Right.
But so yeah, Hobie, TOC, and that are my two main goals. I don't really plan on fishing any of the bass tournaments this year. But we'll see what happens. I'm gonna do as many of the Hobie and KBF as I can, though.
Okay.
As long as I don't run out of money or something.
Right. That's the biggest thing. That's my problem. Is like I want to do them all, but I gotta be careful because I don't have the kind of money and not winning enough tournaments to go do them all. So I gotta pick and choose which ones I want to do. But I'm kind of leaning towards Hobie this year.
Right. I mean, that's how it goes. And definitely helps, making some money after the first tournament. So I don't have to at least have my entry fee for the next few covered. And then hopefully I can cash a check or two to kind of keep it going. And then, I mean, as long as I keep doing all right and cashing the check, pay for the trip at least, makes it a whole lot easier.
Definitely.
I can't count on that, So I gotta make sure I can work also. So.
All right, well, cool, man. I knew this wasn't gonna be a long podcast. I just want to kind of get to know who you are because I know I'm gonna end up talking to you again later this season. Because I mean, like, you can fish. So I imagine that you're gonna have some success later this year. Either way, I usually bring people back on the show anyways. But I just want to give people a chance to get to know who you are a little bit. Put some spotlight on you for making it into the house, which I thought was really badass. But man, is there anyone you want to thank before we wrap this up?
I guess all my friends, for supporting me, being there. My family, they cheering me on. Told Cody Miller I'd give him a shout out. He only borrowed his power pole. Yeah, I lost my pole, so there's that shout out for him. Yeah, I told him I'd give him a shout out to Tin House. I completely forgot to. So
Okay,
here it is now. But yeah, that's about it. No sponsors or anything right now. So
all right. All right, well, cool, man. Yeah. Josh, I appreciate you coming to the show. Good luck with the rest of the season. Congratulations on making it to the 10. I'm going to keep my eye on you. I know I got a feeling you're going to be doing some great things, but just want to talk to you, get to know you a little bit, but I look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, man. Good time to be on the show. It was good to meet you, too.
All right, brother. Well, have a good night.
Yeah, man. You too. Appreciate it.